Hey folks, and welcome to Drinking Alone with Friends, a podcast where three friends drink alone together. My name's Chris.
What up? It's Tud.
And I'm Obert. Tud, you sound different.
I've really just been sitting and reflecting and thinking about my life and what's going to bring joy, because I've, been thinking, and I think it's just I've got this weight on my shoulders I need to lift, and it's what's been lifting it is just getting into cheese making.
Nice.
Nothing is just compelling me more in life than to just execute the world's most roundest and stinkiest cheese wheel. Have you gotten into those at all? Have you ever thought of those thoughts in life?
This seems like a bold new direction for the podcast, but I could be interested.
I've had so much beer, it just doesn't excite anymore, but there's so many flavors of cheese.
You think you could do like 249-ish episodes of cheese?
At least 249 episodes of cheese, for sure. Even though I'm lactose intolerant. Tud's lactose. Is he? He's lactose intolerant now.
Now
It's canon. It's canon.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tud.
That's what they're going to tell you when you substitute on a podcast, is that whatever you say is canon.
Exactly.
When you're Tud 2.0.
Tud's making cheese, just gonna have to throw it right back out. Damn.
No more lactose sours for this Tud.
Nope.
Pastry stouts? No, thank you. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
welcome,
Hi.
Kiwi, a.k.a. New Tud. Thank you for filling in this week.
I'm
been a
happy to be
while.
back. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
It's just been like a perfect attendance record across the pod here. No more need for old Kiwi.
The going to every other week helped a lot, because
Yeah,
we
that's
can
true.
squeeze 2 podcasts in a month. I say that as we're a week behind on the last episode, but it's coming. Don't worry, it'll be out. It'll be out before this one. That's how numbers in order go.
Yeah.
But
It's called balance.
yeah, what's been new since you've been not on the podcast, Kiwi?
Oh my God. I went to the moon. I went canoeing.
Wow,
I
on
took
the
up
moon?
gondolaing. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Shoot. Dang.
Was there cheese up there?
Ooh, that's the real questions.
That's where the cheese inspiration began, that fresh Parmigiano.
That's what the moon tastes like?
Yeah, you could take like a little cheese wheel, carve it out in the middle, then it's pretty buoyant. You didn't know cheese is buoyant? Like a
No,
little
I
crescent
didn't.
cheese.
Guess I never thought about it before. But
Yeah.
That's what the holes are
that's,
for.
That's why the
Gets
moon
the air
floats up
in.
there.
Yeah, the moon's floating up.
Oh, okay.
Because it's buoyant. I mean, have you seen the
Buoyant.
backside of the moon? Everybody's taking wheels off that thing. Like, there's wheels of cheese getting taken left and right.
Yeah, the moon literally controls the ocean. Why? Because it's the most buoyant of all things.
Because it's cheese.
Because it's cheese.
Listen, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I know you're listening all the time. Like, can you please speak on this? No one's talking about this.
I'm actually making cheese with him next week. We got
Oh,
tickets. It's like a sip and paint, but like cheese and wine together, making cheese.
In a planetarium?
No, the equipment's too expensive for that. What were you thinking there?
I don't know.
That's just ludicrous.
I thought it was, instead of paint and sip, it was cheese making and stargazing. But
Wow, that actually is kind of a good idea. But maybe like outside, not in. Have you been to a planetarium? That equipment costs more than some NASA things. I feel like dead ass.
yeah. Also, if the cheese making is as stinky as I naturally assume, you'd probably want to be in a better ventilated area than a planetarium.
Yeah, they are very stuffy, aren't they?
Well, it's got a big dome. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like outside's a better spot for sure. But no, I've been good outside of cheese making. I think we talked about last time I ended up leaving the beer industry. So it's been a different path of life, and I get to casually drink beer now, which is crazy for me. But yeah, it's been outside of that, really just gardening a lot. I had a whole scenario with my garden where I was like, you know what? This is the year I take my garden over. I stop the weeds from attacking it, scorched earth, and I'm going to have a great time. And I like put all this cardboard down to like smother out the weeds. And then I had an onion attack. Apparently the onions really loved the cardboard, just like smothering the soil. And they fucking thrived in it. And I had like 3,000 onions at one point, just like stemming up from the ground. And you can't just like pluck an onion, or you can't cut them. You have to like dig in because they're bulbs. And I was closing my eyes for a bit and seeing onions Like it was a little bit like PTSD-esque. I would literally close my eyes and talk to Mr. Kiwi and be like, I just see onion bulbs. Like I'm like losing my mind a little bit. I'm not even pulling a Tud bit here. Like this is real. Like I'm not exaggerating.
My therapist has heard a lot about onions.
I really had such an onion problem and it was crazy. But then I finally got rid of them and I bought all these new plants. And that's honestly what my summer has consisted of outside of like weekend plans during the nights, during the week, digging onions and fixing my garden. But it looks gorgeous now.
Onion removal. I was going to say, you were saying before we started you didn't know what you had for a handle. Now I got to hear this French onion soup recipe because I'm assuming you're doing something with all these onions.
Well, don't you worry. I got a handle.
Wait,
Don't
so
you worry.
wait, just for clarification, you planted onions, right? It's not like onions just popped. You didn't know?
I didn't. No, I think it was like a wild like spring onion. Like if you ever play Stardew Valley and like, you know, there's those little spring onions in like that one part of the woods. That was my garden.
That was your garden.
Because they come every day, right? They were insane. Yeah. But what happened,
that's funny.
I think a bird took a poop over my garden and that bird must have ingested some form of onion bulb and the onion bulb repurposed itself in my garden. I tried to get rid of weeds, clearly did not dig up said onion bulb. I scorched earth and laid down cardboard and thought I was just smothering out weeds. Apparently I created onion breeding grounds. I should put an addendum here. I had the flu really badly for a week, like not good. And in that time I saw something starting coming up and I literally went, is that onions? And then I went about my day and then I had the flu for a week and then I went outside and there was thousands of like onion stalks, like the little sprigs, like just popped. I was like, what happened? Literally what had happened? I was mind blown. Like I can't even, I'm sorry. I'm just talking about onions. Again, this is not a bit, this is real. This was my entire summer.
Well, I'm proud you persevered. I would have been like, well, I guess next year is the year of the garden.
Yeah, that's also
This year
true.
it's just going to be wild onions.
This is the year of the onion.
Yeah.
The worst part about it is just, I know I didn't get all of those little fuckers. I know there's some that are still in there and they're going to come back next year. And I just have to be absolutely on top of it because I know they're in there. God. How was your summer?
There's some kind of a plant hierarchy where you can plant like the zucchini that'll outcompete the onion or something like that.
Well, the thing is I want to do actual like food gardens in my backyard. I want to do like those like little raised trowels, whatever the fuck that you do, and put some veggies in there and grow my own veggies. But it has been said that the best deterrent to cross plant with like berries and shit like that is onions. And I don't know if I have it in me to purposely put an onion back into any soil around my house. I don't think I have it in me. Let the slugs have them then, if that has to be the case.
Oh, I hate slugs.
So that's my summer. That's what I've been up to, is just digging onions. It's like the movie Holes.
Except
it's my house. My house is my prison.
There's no briefcase full of gold at the end or whatever.
Yeah, was it Kissing Kate Barlow? That was a good movie.
Yeah, that's an old one. It's a good one.
It was a really good one because they stuck to the book. Like they really didn't leave parts out of the book. As a book nerd that like is that person that goes, oh well, in the movie, did you know that actually in the book this happened? It's because the book is better. I'll put that on record.
Yeah, but as Jim Gaffigan said, you know what the best part about the movie is? No reading.
You're not wrong.
Very fair.
That's honestly a really good point.
Took 2 hours and then I took a nap.
You're not wrong. Yeah,
but no, my summer's been good. We're ramping up for DAWF Live, which, if my math is correct, is the next episode after this one.
That's 250.
So it's a real good thing that we figured out exactly when we're doing that.
Right. Yes, we know for sure when that's going to happen.
And I'll say right now, it's
August 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Job-tember.
Yeah. That's right. In the edit, I will put in when we're doing the live show.
August 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
I like July.
We're on top of it here. Yeah. July-August 32nd. But yeah, it's been good. I have to say, though, I do see you have a nice cold beverage next to you, Kiwi.
I do. Are we doing the thing?
As our guest, I feel like you're entitled to have a crack. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I brought to you from the Great White North of Canada, Mill Street Brewery. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Well, they are they're kind of a flagship. They're a little bit more across the great provinces of Canada. I've been frequenting Canada because I live 15 minutes from it.
You're the only one I think we've ever had on the podcast who lives closer to Canada than I do. So
Oh yeah.
that's it's impressive.
Yeah. No, I've got my Nexus. I just wave my card and cut the line. It's great. I'm there all the time. And Canada's been getting better craft beer, I would say, over the year. I think they were a little late to the craft beer party. But they've been getting a little bit better. I do enjoy the craft beer up there. So I am doing Mill Street Brewery's cold IPA. It's not just the can, it's the name as well. But it is 6.5%. And the rest is in French. Kind of.
Oui.
No, I mean, there's some English, but there's a lot of French too. And also there's just zero description. So I'll have to give that to you when I open the can up. But I can tell you it's an IPA.
There we go. Well, I would argue it's not an IPA. I've gone on this rant before on the podcast.
Okay.
I don't think that a cold IPA exists. Just like there's no such thing as a triple IPA. A cold IPA is an IPL that they want you to think is an IPA.
I hear your logic. I do.
It's just a lager that they put hops in.
Yeah, the cold IPA.
If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know that process too well. But I do know the cold IPA is kind of just like a grab gimme word type of scenario in the beer world. But I don't mind hearing it because nothing makes me froth at the mouth more than a feral animal than thinking about a cold IPA on a hot summer heat wave day.
It is good marketing.
Yeah.
I will give it that. Yeah.
So I poured this bad boy out and I'll do a little I guess I have stuff on my glass, but you can see it is definitely hazy. We get a nice, almost like it is pretty straw colored. It's on the more yellow straw color than I would say normal for a hazy. Usually I see a little bit more of like a deeper golden tone. Really nice head. Again, you can't see that well because I've got New Belgium smorgasbord all over the glass, but we got a nice head, very frothy. Wow, nose is fantastic. It's a little on the floral side. The first one was like, oh, that smells juicy. And then the second one was like, oh, I'm getting actually a lot of florals out of this. Third one's juicy again, but I did get a huge whiff of floral. I'm going to take a quick sip. I'd say it's pretty fantastic.
Okay.
It's actually kind of a little bit of a drier mouthfeel to it. Like it's a drier finish where it's kind of leaving the tongue. It smells juicy, but I wouldn't say maybe like the first little sip of it feels juicy, but it really dries out at the end. But I don't mind that. I personally like that mouthfeel. But I can't have more than one or else I feel like I have cotton mouth sometimes. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. But yeah, you get like this like juicy type of like burst filled with like a drier finish. I'm gonna take one more sip. I would say like a grapefruit or like juicy fruit type of like flavor almost. I feel like juicy fruit's a weird description, but that's what's coming to my head right now. But it's good. I enjoy it. I like it. It doesn't taste like a 6.5. I could definitely put a few of these back, but I would be a little weary on like it's very dry. I don't know how else to explain this here. Dry.
It has that clean finish, right? That you would expect from perhaps a cold lager, you know.
Yeah. The cold lager. Yeah, it's really not too bitter. I would say the IBUs feel low to me. Again, I always say IBU is in the eye of the beholder, but I do feel like the IBU is a little bit lower on this for a fake IPA according to Hobart. But
you could call it IPA. That's just my hill that I'm going to die on all by myself. Don't feel like you need me to bring you along to die on my hill, you know.
I would say if the IBU was over 15, I would be pretty shocked.
It's actually
really,
yeah.
Wow.
You know, it's actually funny that you mention IBUs because I've thought about this before too. We haven't really talked about it because we're all dumb when you're not here, and but
good save.
Yeah. But there are times where I'm like, oh man, this tastes really bitter. Or maybe it doesn't taste very bitter. But then I look up the IBUs or I see the IBUs and I'm like, well, how does this have 100 IBUs or how does this have 60 IBUs? Like it just, for some reason, that doesn't make a lot of, it doesn't always correlate in my brain with it. So it's just interesting what the IBUs in the eye of the beholder. That's pretty fun. I like that. So, and that is 30 IBUs, just as an FYI.
You look it up, it's 30.
Mm-hmm.
Again, eye of the beholder.
15. Yeah.
It's someone that was very, acclimated to the beers, and especially IPAs. I guess maybe I'm just strong. I'm tougher than IPAs. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you're built different.
I'm built different. No, it doesn't. I really don't pick up on a lot of bitterness at all for it, at least for my palate itself. It's pretty like, I'm gonna use the word that everyone hates here, but it's pretty crushable.
Yes.
It's pretty crushable.
It's under 7%. Tud thinks it's crushable. That's on
Of
par.
course.
I'm filling in for Tud. I have to put a crushable out there.
That's
it's not
true.
even a forced
Yeah.
crushable. It's a real crushable.
I don't know if
think
Tud has
it's
ever
good.
described a beer as not crushable.
There's been times. There's been a few I can recall where he just what was that? Was it the Pepsi one or the Coke one or something? What am I thinking of?
Like the soda?
I don't know. I thought he had like a weird Coke or Pepsi beer. He would know what I'm talking about, or maybe it was like a Sam Adams beer or something that he hated. Okay, I'm entirely.
Tud.
There's one that he had. beef with.
Tud, right in. Tud, right.
Yeah.
Write an email.
Listener of the show, old Tud.
Old Tud.
Let us know.
Let us know what new Tud's talking about, because we don't remember.
There was like I feel like maybe it was Sam Adams. I don't know why I'm thinking Coke or Pepsi, but he just had absolute beef with one of the beers he had.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Okay, what is it?
It was one of the Bourbon counties that was like a cola like ripoff. Yeah.
And you
Yes.
try to tell me that I don't know about my boy Tud.
Hey, I'm just impressed that my memory pulled that out of the archive of Tud's beers. Because Tud would be on the show, he'd be like, I don't know what she's talking about.
She's crazy. I don't know her. Yeah. No, I vividly remember it. Yeah, so that's my
As in not crushable.
Not
yeah,
crushable.
that one was not crushable.
And he didn't care for it, from what we understand.
No, he was pretty angry about it. I feel like there was also a Sam Adams one, but maybe I'm pushing my luck here of Tud knowledge. I could be pushing the luck. But if I had to rate this beer for my own rating, I would give it a 3.5. 3.2.
Solid.
3.2.
3.25. We're not fancy on Untapped.
3.25. Oh yeah, you're
There you
right.
go.
Sorry, we can only do it in the
Yeah,
multiples.
we
'cause it's a
don't
stupid rating
pay
system.
extra, even though it was technically our idea.
Our idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said this is Hall Street? Is that the name
Mill
of the brewery?
Street.
No, Mill Street.
Mill Street.
Yeah,
MILLST brewery.
yeah.
And are you familiar with them? Do you like them?
Yeah, they have a flagship up in Toronto, I believe. Or I think they're from Toronto, but they have they're from Toronto, but they have a couple like little other areas. But I've been before. I like the beer. I think it's
Okay.
good. They do a really good organic lager that I enjoy. They also have put out some good sours in the past. So yeah, I don't know. I like their stuff. And usually if I go to like a Canadian arena, their beers I think they are owned by Anheuser-Busch. I will put that disclaimer out there. Or maybe it's Labatt. I don't know. Anheuser-Busch and Labatt are the same company in Canada, but they are owned by them. So it's kind of like the Goose Island for Canada, question mark. So there is that big corporate behind them, but I do still like their stuff.
I mean,
nice.
Wicked Weed's owned by InBev, so it's like
Everyone
Yeah.
owns everyone.
I know. Yeah. Well, what do you think 1,398 fellow Canadians think about this beer?
Here's my thoughts is Canadians are later to the craft game. So I think their expectations are low for anything. And they're also very nice people. So like, I feel like all Canadians are just like, oh yeah, 5 bud. Great beer, great brew, eh? Like stuff like, you know what I mean? Like they're not mean people. They're just so nice over there. However, I do think as well that there could be better beers out there. And 1,000 is kind of a low rating. So but it's not a big pool sample there. I'm gonna go with a clean 3. No,
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a clean 3. I'm gonna go with my gut. Clean 3.
Okay, should have changed it.
3.00. Okay.
No, they are nicer than that. So they actually liked it even more than you did. A 3.56. So
3.56.
Okay.
yeah,
On the board.
on the board.
On the board.
On the board.
I don't know if you
should've-
saw, but you still are on the leaderboard. As T2.0. So.
I love it. I love that so much. I got a 3 there.
Yeah. So what is this? 0.56? Is that what?
Yeah, 0.56. Yeah.
You know what? I'll take that. There's like 30, 29, or sorry, I see 39, 40, 47. But then there's me with a solid 3 because I'm leading the guests, and that's all I care about here.
Yeah. I mean,
Or hear that, other guests? You hear that, new Obert?
Jordan doesn't even have a tally mark, does he?
I guess he doesn't play the Untapped game that well.
No, I guess not.
Yeah. No, we had to lobby Tud hard. Tud was lobbying really hard to roll the Tud 2.0 points into his, but we wouldn't let him. So you're still on the board. You're safe. And you are leading the pack with the guests.
That's all I care about. You know what? Like, I'm not going to be here for enough episodes to catch up, but if I'm leading the guests, like I feel like a little bit of validation for I worked in beer.
Yeah, there you go. That's fair.
I'm terrible at guessing though.
I mean, if we make it to like 2,500 episodes and like I don't get any more points, then you could catch up.
You got a shot.
Yeah. You know?
Another 54 years of podcasting.
No, I'm going to be moving on to cheese.
True.
That's my gimmick.
Get struck by lightning and leave you the podcast in my will as a co-host, because then you legally have to do it. And we turn it into a cheese podcast where we rated on 0 to 5 wheels of cheese. Then you got a real shot.
We get 10 cheeses, God damn it! All right, this is gonna be a valid system of rating.
What is the cheese rating equivalent of Untapped called again?
Cheeseoccurred.com.
Ungreat
cheese.
Cheesecurd.com.
Cheesecurd.
Cheesecurd.
Is that what that was?
I don't know what that was.
You know how every good app ends in .com.
Yeah, you know, it really emphasizes we take this seriously. We're worldwide web.
Got Chris good there.
That was a good one.
My bad.
All right. Well, listeners, if you could think of something better than cheesecurd.com, if there's the obvious cheese rating app out there that we haven't thought of, email us, dawfpodcast@gmail.com, or there's always the Discord. Chris, are you thirsty? You ready to go?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go.
What do you got for us this week?
All right. So I recently got back from a trip to Connecticut, and, I didn't make as many trips to breweries as I would have probably liked to, but I hit up one of the oldest standing breweries on the podcast, and it was their 12th anniversary. So I have Treehouse's 12th anniversary beer that I would like to have with y'all today. It is a double.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fitting.
I'm assuming my Treehouse is still in the mail.
Yeah,
right?
old Tud was supposed to drop it off or something. But it's a double IPA. It is. They had variations when I went to the brewery. I went with Old Tud, and they had variations on tap, but I didn't get any because I bought the cans. So this will be a first sip for me. So I'm pretty excited. Obviously, Treehouse, we kind of put them on the map, honestly. Like, you think about it, like, they were kind of nobodies, and then, like, all of a sudden, it's just weird how it works like that. But
they were kind of nobodies, and then 6 years later, we had a podcast, and then somehow right after that, they were everywhere.
Exactly. So here we go. Let's see.
It's a nice ASMR.
Thanks.
This ain't Chris's first beer poured on a microphone before.
That's how I'm putting my kids through college. Don't get around dust. They got asthma. So here it is.
Whoa.
Yeah. Very
super cloudy looking.
Super, like, I mean, listen, for the listeners at home, we got to do the T-Rex test, obviously.
Good luck with that one.
I feel like oh yeah, no, not even close. Not even, like, you are running away so easily. You're just gonna elude the T-Rex. You're gonna get lost. You're gonna get turned around in this beer. Honestly, that's how unseeable it is.
They should have named that beer something like "Wandering into the Fog." That would be a great name for beer.
That'd be good. That would be a good one. We'll have to write them. We'll listen. We gave them their big break, so we might as well. Looks like your standard Treehouse, just like super hazy, beautiful beer. Nice little head sticking around. Nice little head. Smells good. Got some fruity juiciness on it. So yeah, let's get into it. Let me see. Just a quick perusal, see if it says anything about it on the back of the can. No, just basically thanking us. Like they literally mention us on the back of the can, like thanking us for their start. So kind of cool.
Even says new Tud on there, which is weird.
Yeah, it says definitely not old Tud. Even though arguably he's kept them in business more than all of us. All right, so
yeah, no, obviously.
Here we go. This is Treehouse 12th anniversary. Yeah. Yep, that's really good. 8% ABV, just as a little bit of a heads up, but I like it. It's very citrusy on the front, and then it does mellow out. You get, I think that if there's Simcoe on the back end of this or something along those lines, you get like definitely like a more earthy like follow through on the rest of it. It's very good. Some bitterness. I don't know how many IBUs. We already talked about this. I don't know anything. But
at least 6.
At least 6. Maybe 30. Who knows? But a nice little, yeah, it got a nice little bitterness on the end. Very, very clean, just like easy drinker for 8%, which is I don't think even Tud says it's crushable, but it's very good. One thing I will, Treehouse, you're taking notes, obviously. One thing I'll say, I had a few of their beers, and like I tried, some newer stuff. They have a bad tendency now, at least in the beers that I've tried, where you can taste like a real strong burn on the back end. It's really weird. So I don't know if those ended up making it into cans, but it definitely, I was like, oh, this is not the quality that I expect from my Treehouse beers. Now this one is up there with the best of them, right? So, well, maybe not the best of them. I think it's up there. But just a really awesome, solid double IPA. I mean, kind of what you expect from Treehouse at this point.
So sometimes I get like the scratchy hop particle leaf in my throat. Is that what you're talking about with the burn?
No, this is like an alcohol, almost like an alcohol burn.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
I mean,
but not on this beer.
No, not on this beer. This beer's good. This beer's got a nice finish. I was just making the statement about I was afraid due to some of the beers I had, and Tud probably, old Tud can probably talk about this a little bit maybe next week or something, because it's something about the hops. Like they have a new type of hop they're using, and I'm not gonna lie, not a fan. So I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I know Tud talked to the bartender a little bit about it. So overall, this is very good. I'm happy I bought a 4-pack of these. I'm gonna cherish them alongside all of my other Treehouse beers, because that's what I ended up doing. I'm gonna give it a 4.25. Very good. I love IPAs, clearly. It's beer made for me. So I'm giving it a 4.25.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I'm actually just like astounded at how milkshakey it does look just from that cloudiness. But it sounds like it's delicious. And 4.25 is high praise.
I mean, and that's coming from the hardest ass on the podcast. We talk about this all the time. I'm the hardest grader on the podcast easily,
Yeah, no, now how much did a 4-pack cost you? I'm very curious.
I want to say it was 21 or 23, or something like that. I bought 2 cases, and it was $240, but that's a mix of different, like a whole bunch of different beers. So hopefully, she doesn't care. I was like, hopefully Dana doesn't listen to that, but she doesn't care.
She's like,
I'm sure she knows.
She knows.
I see the credit card bill.
She has an idea.
She's got it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got it here on Untapped. Believe it or not, if you type 12 into Untapped, that didn't work. But I found it. Eventually. 372 check-ins for this 12th anniversary IPA.
I would have sworn it was going to be more than that. Freaking Treehouse. I think it's going to be high.
I need a pause because mine I pulled up has 1,827.
Okay. Then I might be, what's yours called?
12th anniversary Imperial Double.
Okay. I think I'm glad Kiwi stepped in, because this seems to be the correct check-in here.
You're welcome, Chris. Maybe.
Yeah.
Depends which one I'm more right on. If I nail this.
I'm really confused because the rating is the exact same. Oh wait, no, okay, I see it now. 1,597 check-ins.
Okay. I mean, Treehouse, this could literally be anywhere from 3.9 3.99 to 4.6. Like that's the problem. I honestly like the first thing that jumped into my mind was right a little bit above me because people love Treehouse. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say it's a 4.32.
Very good guess. 4.34.
Man, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking tree.
Barely eking out New Tud's score on the board. So sorry we got to do this to you, but gotta erase that from the board. And Chris, you are on the board.
Yay.
You know, even if I said the 3.5, which is what I kind of thought about doing, I would have it still would have been 0.6 and you would have only had a 0.2.
That's true. It would have been.
So
would you have been more upset though? Is that like?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
My
right?
expectations were like they're not here for someone
but
to beat me.
0.06 is formidable. That's a score. So
that would have been one of my best guesses, and I would have been pretty pissed off about that.
I've taken the Tud approach. Tud brings these bangers every single week, and then it's just like, oh no, 4.25, and then it's a 4.25.
It's like 4.26.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, okay, cool.
Every week.
Yeah. Not all of us have access to these, between 4.25 and 4.5, the ones that Tud can find.
That's very true.
Sometimes we got to find some cold IPAs that are 3.56s, you know?
Yeah, it's like the alternate universe where Tud just nails him on the head every time. I've got to obviously, as new Tud, not do that to keep the balance in the force, because we both did that. Just chaos theory, right?
True.
Like we both can't do that. Like this is called like the dark side and the lights of the force, right? Like we it has to be balanced.
Yes.
Logic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm gonna get a beer.
I think my logic makes perfect sense.
It does. I mean, we've already established I'm dumb, so like it's fine. I'll never understand it. Uh-oh. Oh,
It sounded like something broke.
Yeah.
Or like the glass smacked pretty hard against the counter. Anything break?
No.
Oh.
Did it sound like stuff broke?
Yeah.
Oh, I did touch one glass with another glass. So it
That's what we
sounded
heard.
like two glasses briefly touched each other. Wasn't
Nothing weird about it, right? It's
Wasn't
just
that
two
bad.
glasses in a room touching each other.
yeah. Stop freaking out. My glasses can do what they want, guys. Two consenting glasses can anyway. I'm back. Have a beer. Great notion. I think they're going to continue to be featured quite frequently on the show because they make some really good beer. Saw this one at the store, said gotta have this on the pod. It's this big guy wearing a farmer hat eating watermelon that's probably the world record for the biggest watermelon you've ever seen, and it's called Seedless. So that's good. Not going to get any seeds in here. But it's a 6.0% tart ale with watermelon, dragon fruit, and natural flavor. Everybody's favorite fruit.
Do have to say the guy on the can looks like he's going to I'm going to open my eyes after like maybe having like a little melatonin gummy, and you open your eyes from like a really weird dream and it's just him hovering over you with that smile that he's got going on. It's terrifying.
You're just sitting on a very tiny chair in the corner of your room, just staring
Rocking
at
back
you.
and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrifying. I mean, I get the
could see
premise
that.
of it, but he's very scary. He will haunt me in my dreams.
It reminds me, actually, I think one of the last beers that you had on, Kiwi, was the like big head, fat head. What was
it? The watermelon head one?
Yeah, but
yeah.
It's like same kind of idea where it's just this big creepo guy.
Yeah, that guy was creepy too, actually, now that I think about it.
Sure smells like natural flavor, though. Smells delicious. Take a look. Looks like watermelon juice. I actually never juiced a watermelon, but I'm sure it'd be delicious. This smells like a beer I've had before, but it's not coming to mind. Don't you hate it when you're like, oh, this is a very distinctive smell. I know what the smell is, but I can't figure out exactly what it is. Maybe it'll come to me after I take a sip. I don't know. Smells delicious, though. Nice and fruity. Like a nice, delicious summer beverage. Let's dive in. It's good. Crushable, for sure. I don't think I've had too many watermelon beers before. I would think it would be hard to pull off. This is obviously, much more on the watermelon Jolly Rancher side of the scale than seedless watermelon side of the scale. But watermelon Jolly Rancher would make a pretty good tasting beer, so I'm not going to complain. Still not coming to mind, though. Maybe it might be like some flavor of Smirnoff Ice that I had about 20 years ago. Really good. They knocked it out of the park, How much more is there to say about this tart ale other than You might get hungover from it. It's very sweet and tart. They did a good job balancing it, but even though you're not entirely safe from a T-Rex from it, it's got some sugar. You can tell. I don't know. It's just like on a hot summer day. We're actually, weather is different in different places, but it's been scorcher here in Montana. We got our fire watch warnings going. Upper 90s all week. Days like this, you just want a nice watermelon flavored beer. They did a good job. If you go to Great Ocean or you get like a mixed 6 from them, add this to your flight board. Don't make it the whole reason you go to Great Ocean. That would be silly when they have Ripe and these other amazing IPAs and the Jammy Pants and stuff. They have some really good beers. This is just like tasty, not like the ones they're famous for, though. You know what I mean?
Be great on the flight, little beer flight.
Oh, yeah. I have a hard time sometimes when I am reviewing a beer where is the best beer the brewery makes? No. But did they take a risk and it paid off? Absolutely. So like they get some kudos, even though on the scale of stuff, this is still like 3.5, it's like 3.7 on the Untapped that we don't pay for. But, it's a watermelon tart ale. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have to say about this beer.
It looks good. Would you say it feels more like artificial watermelon or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes those are like, it's a good few sips and then it can kind of start getting on the back end a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what gave it away. Describing it like a Smirnoff Ice or the watermelon Jolly Rancher descriptor, but not quite as straight from the, I don't know, watermelon patch. Is that where watermelons grow? Down by the bay? But, still pretty good, even though it's artificial.
So we have 8,031 check-ins.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. I'm not going to concede the point to Chris already, but again, this is like, if I brought in a 12th anniversary double watermelon IPA from Treehouse, I'd have a much better shot, I think, at getting on the board.
Do this every week now. I got 2 cases
I know.
of this.
Oh, no. It's going to be the summer of Chris's points from Treehouse.
They're
8,000
most likely over a 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to say it's just okay. I don't think a lot of people are going to give this over a 4. 3.91.
You were closer than New Tud. But actually...
Something.
Actually...
That's not a compliment, Chris.
No, it is, because it is. No. So they did think it's higher than a 4, actually.
Really?
It's a 4.01, so
okay.
Just over a 4.
Yeah.
Great Notion was like, how dare you doubt us, and then crush it with some watermelon stuff. I don't know.
I like to think that 99 people out of 100 check this in at a 4, and then there's one Canadian that came from Kiwiville and was like, great beer, eh?
5.0. Oh, good stuff, bud.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't taste like no moose jaw over here. It's just... Or is it moose jaw or moosehead? I think it's moosehead lager.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's moosehead. Sorry, Canadians, if you're listening. All Canadian, President of Canada, Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau. I'm sorry. Is it still Trudeau?
You better watch out next time you're going across that bridge or whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna stop you.
They're gonna pull me aside.
Next suddenly your Nexus pass isn't going to be so fast anymore.
Hey, bud, I heard you're talking shit, eh? It's time to answer to the beavers. And then, I like it. I go there all the time, okay? Sorry, Canadians. Please take me back.
I'd rather be there.
Next time she's going to come on the podcast with all 5.0 beers from Canada.
All 5. 5s across the board. Canada, great.
Kiwi, why do you keep looking off camera? I don't understand what's going on.
Just an angry beaver just staring menacingly from the corner, doing the little tail smacks.
The Mountie's going to get you.
Mountie's got it on a leash, just ready to let go. Yeah.
He's just on his moose. Somehow there's a moose that got into my home. Don't know how. Those things are like 9 feet tall. They're huge. It's terrifying. If a car's hitting a moose, the moose wins.
Mm-hmm.
Meese?
Yeah, I think it is meese.
I thought it was moose to pie.
Meese.
No.
Well, if it's goose and geese, why wouldn't it be moose and meese?
Guess that makes sense.
My thought process.
And that's why they have the moose and the baby mooselings. Right?
Is that what they're called?
It's like goslings, but mooselings.
Oh my God! Look at us.
It would be mosslings.
A couple of...
Okay. Well, should we head over to that Frosty mug? Pull it out of the freezer? We left it in Old Tud's freezer, but we broke in we sent New Tud on a mission to rescue it. So we have it. Smells a little bit like cheese maybe, but 3 handles on the Frosty mug. We're going to fill it up with wisdomy wisdom. Jordan, take it away.
Test your handle. Test your handle. Test your handle. Test your handle. Mug of wisdom! Drink. Mug of wisdom!
All right, thank you, Jordan. Kiwi / New Tud. Well, I can't give the moose. I can't give the mug to you.
Oh, yeah.
I have to give the moose to Chris because he is the winner this week. Honk, honk, honk. Whatever sounds moose make. Moose.
Moose.
It's like a please
That's
cut
pretty
that
good,
out.
actually.
They're Pokemon.
Please cut that out.
That's a good
Say
moose bugle.
over and over.
But okay, I shouldn't have given it right away to Kiwi. So Chris, it's yours to do whatever you please with.
Okay, Kiwi, you can have the moose of wisdom.
Can I take back my meowg and change it to, instead of honk honk honk, a moose would go monk 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 because it's a moose.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was gonna weigh deeply on me if I didn't put that out into the universe.
We're gonna go back and put that in.
Perfect.
Monk, monk.
Yeah. Well, for my handle, I'm not kidding when I say myself, New Tud the greatest. I really am just passionate about cheese. So I brought my handle for how to make your own cheese. Again, this is just, and you know what? All you need is like 3 gallons of milk, some liquid rennet, calcium chloride, salt, and mesophilic culture. And then make sure you have equipments for a large colander, a good thermometer, a spoon, a cheese press, cheese wax, medium cheese mold, a brush for waxing, some butter muslin, and a knife to cut the curds. And if you don't have those, you could spend like $200 worth on all the equipment to save yourself about $5 at the grocery store.
Easy.
Don't worry. I just checked, and behind the 3 gallons of milk I keep in the fridge at all times, I have all that stuff. So.
Yeah, it's like you're paying an extra $195, but you get the self-satisfaction of making your own cheese.
Cool.
But I thought it would be good to bring to the handle that you can make your own cheese at home. It's kind of simple. I obviously won't go into the details, but basically you just have to heat and acidify the milk. And then you just coagulate with the rennet, right? You basically get this cheese curd straight out of that. I mean, obviously put the ingredients all in there and like follow directions and, you know, sit for like 45 minutes and another 20 minutes and then 90 minutes. And it's very actually precise and probably super tedious. So on top of the $195 worth of items, value your time because you're not having any back from this process. So you're losing at least about 5 to 10 hours of your life going through making cheese making. But then you cut the cheese curds and then you put them back in, and then there's another like 60 minutes, and then you have to drain the cheese. It's the process. Then you just cheddar it, which is basically just taking the curds, and then you're doing like 30 intervals of cheese attention for the next 2 to 3 hours of your life.
That's my favorite part of cheese day.
Yeah,
cheddaring.
It's a very tedious process. You have to mill and salt the curds, and then you have to press the curds. And again, for pressing, let me just tell you, you have to do like an hour at 20 pounds, or 4 hours for 40 pounds, or 24 hours for 50 to 75 pounds of cheese. You are not getting this time back of your life if you want to follow cheese making. And then you have to age your cheese too. You have to like wax it, age it. There's this whole scenario. And after the aging, like you're probably waiting 3 to 9 months for like, I don't know, a 20-pound cheese wheel that is delicious because you made your own cheese.
Damn.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds pretty similar to brewing beer, honestly, where if you're just like the home hobbyist enthusiast, you got to get all this equipment. It's a very time-sensitive and laborious day of doing all the cheese stuff. But then, at least, you don't get drunk, I guess. But you get cheese at the end.
You do get cheese. You could pair that with that home-brewed beer that you also poured lots of labor and love in that hopefully came out okay and all that time was not wasted. But I thought I would just bring to the channel. I really love cheese, and I just thought, bring in some cheese making. You can do it yourself too.
There you go. Imagine going through all that dollars and time and all that, and you just
Gallons of milk,
and you just make American cheese. Like that's that's what you make. Listen, I'm a trash person, so like I enjoy American cheese, but also I know that it's the lowest of cheese, I think.
I made a really wet mozz. Yeah.
Yeah, no. This is, I gave you the a little bit better where I just did cheddar. I gave you a cheddar.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think it's all pretty similar of how to make the cheese. And I think, with the aging, I'm no cheese expert yet, but the longer you age, I think the more mold you get and the more you go towards blue cheese. I might be wrong here, but it did actually, when I was reading about it, it did seem pretty interesting because it is, like you said, pretty similar to the brewing process. And I'm curious about the crossover we could have with the beer world of the beer nerds and the cheese nerds,
The cheese heads.
The cheese heads.
Yeah, they live in I'll reach out to my sister lives in Milwaukee. I'll reach out.
She must be into making cheese because she lives in the state of Wisconsin.
That's what whole Wisconsin does. They have the hats. It's like Buffalo. We have the wings.
Yeah.
I could see after this whole process of Kiwi reading all of this, her being like, yeah, that's so funny. And then a week later, she's like, guys, I actually started making some cheese.
I'm weighing it down for 24 hours.
Hit me back up in like a year and I'll tell you how it tastes.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, okay.
It's gonna be like,
that's where I would just be so depressed.
Right.
Just doing all that labor. It's so much more, I think, than the brewing process. I can't emphasize to you how many hours of like straining, mixing.
Constant supervision.
Yeah, it's so much supervision and taking it out and cutting it up and putting it back in. And to do all of that and to like finally have it after like aging it for 9 months to be like, this tastes literally no different than like the $5 fancy cheese at the grocery store I could have bought.
Yep.
Like I just would be so disappointed.
I think, not to continue talking about cheese, even though this is now a cheese podcast, clearly.
This is last episode of Drinking Alone with Friends, or the first episode of Cheesing with Friends. I don't know. We're names still in progress.
It's a pretty big shout out to cheese because, like, imagine like cheese has been around for ever, and like before it was all machinerized and all that stuff. Like people had to do this by hand, and people were like, "Fuck it, we need this cheese. Like this is what we need." So shout out to
I
cheese.
think how it must have started with some guy with like too many cows who's just over there like with all these bottles of milk, just sweating like, what am I going to do with all this milk?
Oh my God.
Got to figure out some way to turn it into a solid that won't go bad in a day.
Well, it's like you already questioned the guy that discovered milk for himself, right? You already questioned that, but then it makes me almost question the second guy that said, you know what? Super old milk? Put that in the shelf for a year and come back to me.
Yeah.
You thought
this went bad? Let's find out. Let's stick around. Let's see what happens to this.
I mean,
who knows where it could go?
I did do like a anthropology course in college because it was like a little bit on just food and drinks and stuff like that. And the thing that really just drives everyone to do this crazy shit is just starvation. Right? Like, it was back in the day where food is a scarcity and like just a luxury in itself. And especially with the really extreme class systems, it's just desperation, starvation that drives people to be like, that fucking nasty glass of milk that's been sitting back there curdling. Guess what? I either die or I try that shit out. And then it's trial and error, right? Like some people died from doing some really dumb shit. And some people did some dumb shit that happened to be kind of good and tasty, surprisingly. But that's really what like drives it all to it, not to like be like the haha jokes, but really like it is like the starvation, which I find fascinating.
For the people that figured out you could milk a cow and get away with it, there was 10 people who tried to milk a moose beforehand and got trampled to death. So
there's a reason we don't have moose cream, ladies and gentlemen.
Someday, maybe we'll have the technology.
You could technically, if you think about it, it's a mammal. It produces milk. There's a reason
that's
though,
what this world needs.
I have nipples, Greg. Keep milk.
We need more different kinds of mammalian milk out there. We got cow, we got goat. There's even sheep. We got to explore the horizons of what else.
Why not moose?
get some milk and cheese out of, you know?
Yeah. There's got to be other mammalian cheese out there, but that's probably like some super elite rich people, like,
Oh yeah, we don't even know
caviar.
about it.
Yeah.
The rich people are going to listen to this episode and be like, we got to find these guys because they are on to our
Yeah,
cheese.
they're onto our moose milk. It's worth more by weight than printer ink, you know?
It's like the Canadian royalty only having the moose milk and the moose cheese. People literally have to die to acquire that. I'm sorry, I've derailed this podcast for cheese. Please, do I get to pass on the handle next?
Yeah, go for it.
I think I'm going to put Chris on the spot.
Oh,
He looks unprepared.
I'm always unprepared. You should know this by now. Oh, new Tud. I know I talked about it last year. I don't know if I put it over though. So I'm going to. And historian of the pod, you can correct me if I already talked about it last year. But anyways, while I was visiting Connecticut, part of the reason we were going to go up originally was because Pokemon Go Fest was in New York City this past actually I think it's like 2 weeks ago now. And you know what? I just want to put that over because since I'm such a big part, quote unquote, of the Pokemon community on Twitch, it's like really fun and really cool to get out and go and do these fun things and meet all these crazy people that you never thought you'd be able to meet before, like these Twitch friends like me and Kiwi. Me and Kiwi are Twitch friends or real life friends now.
From Pokemon.
And from Pokemon, yeah. So but the event itself is chaos. It is a lot of stuff crammed into one park, and thousands and thousands and thousands of Pokemon trainers come, and it's just really cool, like walking around and like, oh, I know you from Twitch, or oh, so and so, I'm gonna go talk to this person. There's a bunch of people live streaming. It is chaos, but it is a lot of fun. And I am a severe introvert, so like for me to say that is something. So I went with a good friend of mine, Colleen. It's Colleen on Twitch if you want to check her out. She's wonderful. And we kind of just tagged along, and like there was people that I knew from Twitch that I got to meet, and like we got to walk around. And granted, it was like a bajillion degrees, but it was still a lot of fun. So I'm gonna put over Pokemon Go Fest. If you're able to go to wherever it is, in this case it was New York or wherever it may be near you, I suggest you try and go. But if not, like I'm sure you can get the same kind of stuff out of like going to like cons and things like that, because just meeting all these really cool people that I never thought I'd be able to meet before, and it's pretty cool. So there you go. That's something I did and I liked it, so take that.
You get any cool, like, unique stuff?
I mean, I got some cool shinies.
Nice.
Yeah. So got shiny Necrozma, and trying to think what other ones. I got a bunch, but it was a good time though. It was a good time. So
Yeah, they had their space-time dimension Ultra Beast Rifts Pokemon coming through for it. It's a little more obscure era of the Pokemon fandom. Where,
I can't even tell if that's like parody or actually what really
it's
happened.
real. They were
That
like
was real.
alien Pokemon coming to the Pokemon universe.
Yeah.
And like for some reason, the already monstrous, elemental wielding creatures that live in this world aren't aliens. There's actually other alien Pokemon that come to there. But I can back Chris up 100% with Pokemon Go. It's such a good way to connect with just random strangers in the least creepy way possible. I participated as well, but just in my local community. I actually went to the best place to play in Buffalo is the University at Buffalo, the college. It's actually, I think it was the first place that the Pokemon Go trainer hit like the max level that they could. And they were like a student at UB, University of Buffalo, because there's just so many stops and so many places to go. But what's actually at UB that I did, which was really fun, was they have this, I guess Buffalo in itself, we have at one point we had these art installations of just these buffalo sculptures, and businesses and places and locations were allowed to like get one, and they're all painted differently. UB has one, but that one is their paintable, which they encourage people, if anywhere from sunset to sunrise, you can go and just spray paint it whatever you want. And it's been going on for years. That thing is thick AF with paint, but it's really cool. And I've always just been like, that would be like so cool to spray paint. And Mr. Kiwi and I have looked at it and been like, we should do it. We should do it. So we bought spray cans and went the night before Go Fest, and we spray painted it into a Pokeball / Pikachu face.
Nice.
And then we got there like early in the morning because we were like, okay, that'd be like really cool if like maybe 1 or 2 people thought it was cool too. What we didn't know was the entire day, whenever we'd pass it, there'd just be like so many people taking pictures, people stopping,
That's cool.
like
Oh,
getting on
that's
top
awesome.
of it. And we were like, we didn't tell anyone because like obviously like just, you know, shy, but like we
Right,
it
now
was
the
just
whole
so-
world knows on the podcast.
Yeah.
now the whole
True.
world knows it was me. I have proof. Okay. But like, it was just cool where like people are just connecting. Like we were seeing people become friends like in front of that bowl, but like you just like follow a group around of people because you need help with a raid or something, and you start talking, and like kids come up to you and, can I be your friend? And you're like, yeah. And like, I don't know, it's just like such a safe environment for people to connect. And I will back Chris up anytime. And it's also like a good form of exercise.
True.
Getting those steps in.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know where you posted that, but I saw the picture of the Pokeball, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I should have taken credit for it.
That was me.
There's like hundreds of pictures of it that were like going on like the Discord / Facebook page for the Buffalo. There's like obviously like a Buffalo Pokemon Go group area. And I didn't want to be like, that was me. It was like too late. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it from afar. It was also just
Nice.
cool to do. I felt illegal spray painting it
Right.
on like a
Spray
college
painting
campus.
stuff at night, pre-dawn. Yeah.
I really felt like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, but no one cared because it's a cool like safe space environment for people. If you're gonna spray paint, just do it here. So
Right. And now you have those extra cans to go tag the rest of the city with. So.
exactly. Kiwi was here.
All right. Well, I think it's time I take this Frosty mug. I also have a social activity, slightly less nerdy. I went to music festival this past weekend. Went to a country western music festival, which is not normally my jam, but it is 3 miles from my house. It's called Under the Big Sky. And I learned that to me, proximity is more important than acts that I care about at a music festival. Because I'm like, this is great. I got to sleep in my own bed every night, go home and see my dogs, but still be out here partying with everybody and doing all the cool music festival stuff. But so even though Under the Big Sky was awesome, and I want to shout it out, and there's a cool stage with like one of the stages had like a natural amphitheater type hill with a stream running through it, so you could like put your feet in the stream while you listen to the music. It was awesome. But my real handle for this week is not Under the Big Sky Fest, but it is the artist Kaitlin Butts. She was my favorite performer of the festival. Unexpectedly, I went in just kind of having a lineup of, okay, maybe we'll go to this person on this stage, this person on that stage. So go in, and I had no real expectations. And just her voice, her songwriting, the like, you know, she came out and like told the story of the song before every song she sang, kind of thing. Really impressed me. And even though it's not normally my type of music, you might not be a fan of country music, I recommend checking out Kaitlin Butts. I think I sent a link of one song to Chris over the weekend. I'm trying to remember which one it was. You ain't gotta die to be dead to me was one of my favorites. And she talked about how like it's about kind of like generational trauma, or you know, leaving people out of your life, and you know, specifically family members. And I saw people with shirts, Kaitlin Butts shirts later, that said "sad yeehaw music," which was I thought pretty. That's kind of the whole vibe she goes for. But I don't know about you guys, but sometimes like the more sad emotional songs are like the ones that I find resonate with me more, especially if I'm like listening to a song for the lyrics, not just like the catchy melody. But she had it all. So I'll put that link in the show notes. Check her out. She's playing in Connecticut, I think, shortly after this episode goes live for our Connecticut listeners. But yeah, also go to a music festival. It was a lot of fun, even if it's not your type of music.
I want a sad yeehaw shirt.
Yeah, I liked it. I was like, I want to get that. But, all right, with that, thank you all for listening. I guess, New Tud, do you want to start by thanking who provided your beer?
Yeah. I would like to thank Mill Street Brewery for their cold IPA.
I would like to thank Treehouse for their 12th anniversary double IPA.
And I'll thank Great Notion for their seedless. Again, hit us up on the Discord, the email, It's all in the show notes. 5 stars. Tell your friends, etc.
Grandma's grandma, etc. Blah blah blah. Grandma's pastor. Grandma's grandma. Shit.
Tell your grandma's grandma that she should cut back on the beer. So with that, my name's Obert.
My name's Chris.
My name's New Tud / Kiwi. And if you're drinking alone, make sure to do it with friends off the internet that you've made. And then you make friends with that one internet friend, and then he introduces you to his other internet friends. And then you start seeing them like biannually. And then you say, hey, let's go to a cheese and winemaking class. That sounds really fun. I think we'd have a blast. And then you do that. And then you start to fall into this whole new hobby. And you spend like $200 to $50 on cheese making equipment. And you don't do it alone. You drink with friends during the process.
Yeah, that's our new podcast.
That's what we say every week here.
Cheese making with curds? I don't know. What is our new
My
podcast
friends
name?
make me cheese. Like a cheesy smile.
MyFriendsMakeMeCheese.com.
.com.
.com the app.
http:// MyFriendsMakeMeCheese.com. The podcast.
Yeah. The podcast, yeah.
Now in curds. Now in cube form. There's so many forms of cheese. There's actually not. I don't know. Would you say there is? Because there's like the triangle cheese.
But
there's
Sure.
the cheese curd. There's
Yep.
the cheese cube. There's the cheese slice. And then there's the cheese wheel. Am I miss? And
Well-
then there's the cheese square, the cheese like slab that you throw
Well,
on a
when you were
burger.
talking about cheese making, all I can think of is the easiest one to make has got to be cottage cheese, because that's just barely cheese. You know what I mean? That has a form. It's just gross and sloppy and bumpy milk.
Instead of I can't believe it's not butter, it's just barely cheese.
I can't believe this is cheese.
I can't believe this is cheese.
Oh,